All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's Lunch and Learn, where I take you for a spin through different aspects of digital marketing. I think today I'm going to just kind of dive in and focus on some of the areas that we haven't covered so far in the first 2 weeks this year. And if you hear clicking going on, that's me letting new people in. And I also sometimes check the chat and see what's going on. Welcome, Deb, thank you for sharing about yourself. So, last week's class, we talked a little bit about sign-up forms and landing pages. One of the things I wanted to share with you that we haven't talked about yet is surveys. And so, it's always a good idea, when you're thinking about reaching out to your audience, how you want to know about them. I've talked a little bit about how to export your contacts, like from your Gmail account, and then break those into people who are your friends, people who are your coworkers, people who are your family, people who you don't know how they got on that list, before you might upload that into Constant Contact, and then be sending different kinds of newsletters out to those different groups. But another way to suss out who's in your world is by creating a survey. And the nice thing about Constant Contact is it comes with a survey tool that's built in. So every so often, I will go out and build a survey. And as I've talked about in the past, one of the things that I'll do right off the bat is title it, so we'll just call it Survey Test for this time around. And it's grabbing this image because I have branded the survey with, I just used the Alignables website to brand the survey, or to brand everything that I'm doing in Constant Contact right now. So here's just a simple beginning to the survey. What you can do, though, is, let's just see, we've got a bunch of chatting going on. Okay, hi Misha, welcome. What you can do when you are inside of the survey is ask all sorts of different questions. So here you've got a question, different types of questions. You can edit the question. You can make the question a multiple choice question, check boxes, open answer. I like, kind of having a mix of a few different things. And usually I'll just ask, how did you find me? Let's say something like that. And then maybe leave that open, or maybe that's a multiple choice question with, social media and or word of mouth, or advertisement. If you found me through an advertisement, I'd be very curious what kind of advertising you were seeing. Anyway, so that's, for instance, a first question. Second question might be, let's say it's an open-ended question of, what's your birthday comes up? Why not? So maybe that's then a open answer question, and I'm just allowing what's your birthday, and then I might say just day and date and month, or month and, I guess it should be month and day, but you get the idea. And I'm going to make that a required question. And then let's say I add one more question. Maybe I want to know, where you live. If my business is, maybe I'm wanting to know if you live in Portland, or if you live in Seattle, or you live in the rest of the country. So I'm dividing people up by demographics. I could list different zip codes depending on that, and maybe I'm adding an other. So there you go, and I'm making that required. And if I click on save, now maybe that's all I want to ask is 3 questions and are all required. And boom, I activate that survey and I call it Lunch and Learn 211. And what else do I say? Try this out. And let's say I don't leave an expiration and I call this Lunch and Learn. And I save and I activate. And that's that. I just created a survey in 5 minutes. Now, you might want to take a little bit more time to create your survey and think it through. But I'll just put that into the chat and we can see what happens. See who takes the survey, see what you think of that, what does it look like. And for those who don't want to do that, I'll just post it here and we'll see what that looks like. I guess, partly I just wanted to share with you how simple that is. So actually what's interesting is I didn't ask for your email address, which is definitely something that I would want to add. So actually, before we go on, why don't we see, can we edit it? We can edit it. And let's see what happens here. I seem to recall, yeah. So let's see. Oh no, so it looks like I can't add a question at this point. I can probably edit a question. So can I, but I can't edit the type of question it is. Yeah, once you've activated the survey, it's pretty much like on its way. So there you go. That's just back to then what it is. But normally in a survey, you would want to ask your first main question is what's the person's email address if you're trying to build your list. But if you're trying to sort of like suss out people who are already on your list, and for instance, if anyone was on my email list, I have a feeling that the data from this survey would then show up in the information that was gathered. So let's say now we have a survey. Excuse me. And it looks like the survey that I just created, was in a different account. And so I need to go to that. This is a little sort of behind the scenes stuff that normally you don't really want to show people, but that's okay. I think we're among friends here. So down here under surveys, I should see the survey that I just created. Yeah, so now I can go in and I can look at the survey and I can look at the results. 2 people entered their information. Thank you very much. And there we go. So I could see 2 anonymous submissions and I could see, one person found me through social media, one person found me through advertisement. 2 people put their birthdays in, and one person's from the rest of the country and one person's from others. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Anyway, all that to say that is how a survey works. So before I go any further, does anyone have any questions about that? I know I zipped through creating a survey, but hopefully that gives you an idea of a feature that's inside this program that one could use. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I do have it, and I'm having problems actually downloading the URL into my website. Have you had that problem before?
This URL here that I'm pointing at?
Well, no, my own, the ones that I've created. They pull up fine in any browser, but then when I try to put it into like I'm on my
I see what you mean.
HTML,
right.
It shows it broken.
Yeah, maybe why don't we take that for the end of the class? I don't know why that's happening. I'm not having that issue with myself right now. Like for instance, if I went out to my own website and I go ahead and edit it, I'm in WordPress right now, and I don't know what your website uses, but
Wix.
if I just turn this into a link, for instance, and I put that survey in there, well, we'll just see what happens. So go ahead and update. Interesting question. I do know that, every once in a while you get issues like this where the link will get truncated. So now this should just lead to that survey. Yeah, it worked fine.
Okay.
So yeah, I would just see if, yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that's happening. A quick call to constant contact support also might be warranted.
Yeah, that's what I was, yeah,
Yeah,
no problem. Thank you.
sure. Yeah, but now, now I have to get rid of that. Hopefully I will remember to deal with that. Okay.
I have a quick question, please.
Yeah.
And I came in a minute or two late, but apparently that was a very important minute or two because I'm not quite following. So this is an emailing class, and then what is the purpose of doing a survey, and how
Sure.
do we get to all of that?
Sure. Sure. So I am actually going to share this link with you all. What I've been doing for the last couple of classes is talking about the email marketing, and the program that I'm showing it off in is Constant Contact. And we've done a lot of work looking at emails. We've done some work looking at automations. Last week we looked at sign-up forms. And I thought I would just take a little gander at what do surveys do.
Got
And
it.
then I'm sort of showing how a lot of these different tools work together. And so in the beginning of today's Lunch and Learn, I thought I would talk a little bit about segmenting your list. And one way to do that is through surveys. And
Okay,
so,
great.
yeah. And now that we're here, though, and thanks for your question, I'm going to go ahead and just show you kind of what you might do with this survey is, I guess I won't be able to, well, you could share this via your social media. You can share this via an email, obviously. You can create an ad from the survey, and you can also just copy the link and share it, all over the place. But the one that I was kind of most interested in showing was social, but I don't know that I'm connected up with my social accounts. But you can at least see how this would look if I did connect my social accounts. I'll just go ahead and connect Facebook just so you can see a little bit, excuse me, how this works. Except I don't remember my passwords. Do I remember my password? Let's see. Nope, never mind. Okay. So, but come on, go back. Please go back. No? No, it won't let me out of here. Ah, there we go. Great. So once you have connected your various social media, you can connect Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and one more, which I refuse to talk about these days. Then you can take your survey or any other link, bring it into your Facebook page. You can add imagery if you want to, or you can also count on the fact that the image from the survey, which I use this image, would show up here. What's interesting too is you can actually remove this information, and it'll still should show the preview of the survey. You can also use this fun little Write with AI tool, and so what that'll do is it'll go in and it'll look for your words, and it will it'll just create content for you. So there's the big takeaway there is you can just grab like all of this content. Personally, I do not use this very often, like once out of 100 times maybe. But this is just, it's fascinating how much content it will generate and what it will what it will say. And so now if I had my Facebook page connected, I could just click on post now and it would post to my various Facebook pages. Same thing with Instagram, same thing with LinkedIn. And it's grabbed that same information for all three. I could change this and either not use AI at all, or I could use a different, different tone depending on which social media account I was posting to. So that's just kind of a fun thing that you can do with any of these, like no matter what. So I've got the survey here, but if I had, let's say, a sign up form, same thing, I could use the sign up, I could take the sign up form, share it on social media, share it on, via the survey. Like you can mix and match all of these things. It's really quite incredible, all the different possibilities of what one can do here. All right, so we're about 20 minutes in. I'm thinking I do want to show, well, one more kind of tool that's out there is this. This is quite extreme, but a tool that's now available is this idea of creating a campaign. And what that means is you can create a campaign that will have all of these different aspects to it. So right now you're seeing all the different things that would be created in one fell swoop. So let's say I wanted to attract new customers. I'll click on that. And now I can say, let's see, Albert Ideation is a place to learn and grow. We focus on email marketing, surveys, events, and public speaking. So I've just given it some information. Here's the time frame. Let's say I'm going to use all the different channels that it's suggesting. Marketing would be an easy one, but I think I'll just, why not horse breeding? I don't know, horse boarding. I just, for some reason, feel like going off in a different direction with my career. So, okay, someone is, okay, yeah, sure I can, Lila, absolutely. So let's click on create a campaign. And this is going to now generate, let's see, we're having a horse overnight, bonfires, let's see, cattle rustling, and more. How's that sound? So try to imagine with your own business how this might help you. Now this is like a super use of artificial intelligence to take a very little bit of information. I could have given it a lot more information, obviously, and then it's going to spit something out at the other end. So we'll see what it does in a second. Okay, Jerica. For Jerica and Lila, if you are unalignable, you should also see this information posted there, the YouTube. Or actually, you can also just go to my YouTube channel, Albert Kaufman. All right, so there we go. So now my campaign is ready. I'm going to skip doing that. And look at this. It's created an email, a sale event. It's created a Facebook teaser for the event. It's even found imagery of horses. This is something. It's created an Instagram countdown to the sale event. It's created an actual event, post-event, thank you, and a Facebook event recap. So just out of curiosity, let's just see what this first email looks like that tells people about what I'm doing. This is interesting because I usually am very down on using AI for very much of anything, but excuse me. Here we are. Unlock exclusive savings on horse boarding services, limited time only. pictures of horses, and these are all stock images. And, had I given it more information, I have a feeling it would have even generated more than what I'm showing you, more specifics. And in fact, you can obviously go in and, edit whatever it's doing. And you'd never want to send this out without actually looking it over. But here you go. Horse boarding sale event. Would go out to my Facebook page, out to my Instagram account, and then onto my LinkedIn profile as well. So I just think that's fascinating that you can have this much information sort of generated for you, and you could give it some specifics and really take it for a ride. So that's something under the multi-channel campaigns. And yeah, I think that's a good place for us to maybe take a little break and see if anyone has any questions. Let's see, great. I'll go ahead and pause the recording and we can see where we are. To resume. And welcome back, Bob. We'll get to your question in just a second. Okay, so just as a simple, we had a question about just kind of walk me through creating an email. So that would just be right here, create an email. From here, you can do various things like this little branded feature is kind of nice. If you click on that, you're able to pull up, if you've gone through the little process of branding all of your stuff, it will then create a lot of different options for you that already have all of your branding. But if you want to actually just go in and let's say we're going to do Valentine's Day, we'll just pull up a template from Valentine's Day. I'll just grab this first one here. And these templates make use of kind of every aspect of the tool. So, for instance, your header is up here. This is where you put your subject line. You might put an emoji for Valentine's Day. A pre-header, kind of the way they work together is here's the header, here's the pre-header in a person's email inbox. Who the email is from, it's from me. Maybe I'm going to add an emoji there. I like to do that. From and who you're replying to are right there. All this is actually quite a key area to think about because this is what people see, and if they don't like that, they're not going to open your email. If they don't know who it's from, also that's a good chance they won't open your email. So getting those two sections right is actually very key for email marketing. And then you can see different aspects of this. We've got images. The images can be shrunk or expanded. You've got your background. That's kind of over here in the design area. You might decide, okay, instead of just a regular background, maybe I want some kind of design, or you can also grab images off the web and use, like if you want to put snow or something here, you could do that. Again, this is a text box. This is a place where you might do things like making a link about something. Anyway, you'll find, I think taking a look at the YouTube that I created from the other day is your best bet, because I really took a lot of time and energy to just walk everybody through like every little last step. In fact, the last two YouTubes, each is about 20 minutes long, I think. The first one really goes into some of the things like, making the images smaller or larger. But in the second one, I talk a little bit more about some features that are a little bit less usual, like line spacing, but you can do all sorts of things here, make images, or I'm sorry, make the text wider or smaller, change the font. And once you've done all of that, you'd go to continue. Actually, usually I would send myself a test and then check for errors, but send yourself a test and really check that the links are all working and that type of thing. And then going on to continue after you've created your email, you come out here to pick which who's going to get your email, when it's going to be sent. You can send it later, you can send it now, you can send a test. Notice that that is repeated there, so it's obviously very important. And yeah, you can also do things like resend to non-openers, which is a great feature. So actually on February 14th, maybe you'd want to send this. Again, if it's a Valentine's Day message, maybe send it on Valentine's. And maybe you want to change up the email subject line as well. So yeah, so that's a little bit about how the email tool works. But I definitely do suggest that you head out to the YouTubes that I've created on those. So that's a great question. So question was about contacts, and we're going to go ahead into add contacts, and this is covered a little bit in a recent video, but I think it's worth showing this again. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a file. I'm sorry, yeah, it is a file that has contacts that I'm going to upload. So here is a list of all the people who ran for office in Portland recently. So this is what happens is you see it's showing you every field in the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to skip this column. This is a field called, let's call it first name, even though normally what I would do is in Excel, I would break these apart into first name and last name. I didn't do that right now, but you understand how that would work. And if you don't, it's a pretty simple thing where you basically like highlight the field, the row, and leave some space, a couple of rows to your right, and then you break it into 2 columns or 3 columns, depending if you have middle names or not. There's nothing in this field, so I would skip that. These are districts. So actually I could create a new custom field here called district, because there's 4 different districts. And then here are the email addresses. And then the next step is I would continue, and then I would pick what list I was going to put these folks into. And that's it. That's basically how you would upload a list of contacts that's in a spreadsheet. Hopefully that helped.